like they want to major in art. Like when you ask what their careers, they want to be artists.
Right.
I don't know what that, like I don't know what that is, and it's like newsflash, you don't have to go to college for that.
Yeah.
But if
I
you
know
look,
that. I did.
but if you also look at like the engineer, like that's not out of whack. So if you look at like the number of students that are coming in that say, I want to major in engineering and I want to be an engineer, that is on par with like other institutions. So it's like there's that, but then you have this like huge gap between like students majoring in art and the artists and every other major. But then I also wonder like, I wonder what that looks like on the back end. Well, what we know now, if you go back and you look at the faculty, you look at the number of students who graduated, it's like, it is engineering, but it's also business, psych, and that might be it. Like
yeah,
those
I
are the
remember
things.
that because as I was looking through, the intended major data, that's what I thought of. I was like, this number seems exceptionally
Yeah.
small compared to the number of students that we have who grad specifically in psych. I was like, that don't go together.
So it makes me wonder, like, all right, is this going to be like an anomaly? Like, or we have a new generation of students, and they come in and this group wants to be artists, and so they're going to be art majors, and they're going to stick with that? Or is the natural kind of trajectory is that they come in as art majors, but for whatever reason they end up going into psych or business or whatever? Like, yeah, I understand wanting to learn about like art history and that type of thing. But I don't know, I feel like if you're an artist, and there's some technical things, if you're a graphic designer, there's some things that like technically it could help you out to learn, but it does make me wonder like, well, why come to college to major in art? And maybe it's just my ignorance and knowing what art majors do, but it feels like you can get some practical experience that may be better suited if you're just looking to work on your craft.
Which I thought was interesting because, like, at least from my memory, students generally aren't coming here specifically because of the, I guess, academic reputation of the institution. Which,
Don't let people hear you say
I mean,
that.
no, I say that because I was surprised.
Mhm.
Because, you often hear students say, oh, I came here specifically for this major, which
Yeah.
may be true, but it wasn't because they heard about the rigor or,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so, when I was reading through, specifically thinking about art and art history, like art, yes.
Yeah.
Art history, no. Art teaching, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I thought it was strange.
Like, why do you, okay, I mean, I have my reasons for why I think students come here, but why do you think students come here?
Like in general for art.
No, like in general.
Because they're not broke.
Okay,
And
so,
because it's national and they're trying to make it liberal.
okay,
I would say that's the reason.
okay. I mean,
I came here because I was broke and it was just a happy coincidence that was far left. I had no idea about
I
that.
mean, that's why major reason I went to App was I was looking at tuition and I was like, I think at that point it was like the lowest tuition in the state. I was like, I'll take it.
And I mean, yeah, they're broke.
Right.
You're like,
When I was, reading through it, a lot of folks were like, oh, I decided to come here when I visited the campus.
Yeah.
So again, like these ideas that we have, or that I have rather, about like why are students at UNC Asheville, aside from it being, pretty cost effective for folks,
Yeah.
they came here and it was like, oh, this is cute,
Yeah.
and that made a difference.
And that's the thing. I don't think it can't just be that it's like it's cheap. Because guess what? Community college is cheap.
Right.
it's, yeah, personally, I mean, I guess it's different. They want to give you.
Which is also true.
Yeah. It is interesting to think that like everyone came here for like a similar like social stuff.
Which is interesting because they don't report feeling socially confident or any, like, I thought that was funny that they put intellectually confident, which the numbers are higher
Yeah.
than socially confident. But I was like, okay, so, y'all saying y'all don't really miss class like that.
Yeah.
You do your homework and, but you didn't come here necessarily for academics, and also you say you came for the location and you don't want to go outside.
Well,
So
that's,
it was confusing.
but I think that like that location is like again, it's the culture and the social nature of Asheville. I don't
That's
think
true.
it's like,
That's true.
I don't think it's like, some people like hiking, some people like kayaking. I think those like that exist, but I think it's more Asheville is that kitschy kind of way.
Oh, yeah,
place.
yeah. I didn't mean go outside like be in nature.
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
go outside like,
Like be outside and talk to individuals.
right,
like,
social
real people.
interaction.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I think it's also a place where I think people feel like there are other folks who are like that, so they don't have to. You know, they don't have to engage with other folks because like nobody wants to do that. Like no one else here is doing it.
Right.
Is that off base?
And then no one else is looking for work.
Like engage with people. Like I can come here and be like a super antisocial person because I know other people here are also
Yeah.
wanting to be super antisocial.
Yes, but I also think it has to do with like people knowing that the people who are here think the same way that we do. So
Yeah.
they don't talk much, but they do the same thing.
Yes, which is we're in these close quarters, and I have anxiety at the thought that I may have to talk to you, and I know that you have anxiety for the thinking that you may have to talk to me. So we just both agree we're not going to talk to each other.
It's like I see you see me and we can pretend we don't see each other.
Exactly. Which is why, like, I don't know, it's simple. It's like when you see people on campus, and like you look a person dead in the eye, and
Like
then they
you
dart.
see me
Yeah.
Oh my
seeing you.
God.
And that's
I
Say
literally
hello.
am so mad at you. Just reminded me of this girl who we had a whole group project together that lasted several months, and she walks right by me and does not make eye contact with me. I'm like, you were in my home.
Yeah. And it's like look, I'm not gonna stop you. Like
I am.
'cause I don't want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation. But it is like it's part of how you build community. It's just like even in acknowledgement of like, hey,
Right.
they had
I noticed that a lot, like doing orientation and stuff. You'll see the parent, or I see the parents when they park in the morning. And I say, good morning, how are you, whatever. And then the parents will
the
respond.
parents are like
The students are
the
like,
parents will stop
Yes.
and have a conversation.
yeah. The parents are like, it's a no.
Yeah.
Just no. You
And the
can't
parents
go.
will be like, hey, come here.
Like even today, I told you we had a student who came during Admitted Students Day, and I saw her orientation today, and I was like, wow, she looks familiar, and I couldn't figure out where I remembered her from. But then it light bulb, and so I left my table because they had walked around the table. She saw me, seeing her.
Yeah.
They were about to go upstairs, and then I think the person that she was with stopped her, and we caught each other
Yeah.
as I was going over there to say hello. And it was so funny. The person who brought her was like, yeah, I asked her, you wasn't gonna talk to nobody today? And I was like, see, this is why we need to get you connected to some people so that this doesn't
Yes.
feel like the most difficult thing you're going to do today.
Yeah. And I don't know. That wasn't my college experience.
Ah.
So, and I'm not a social butterfly, but I still also feel like I wasn't. And, y'all
You
know.
be saying that
What?
you're not a social butterfly.
What am I?
Like,
I feel like comparatively
yeah.
to me, for example.
You
Yes,
have a
you
big
are.
group of friends, I feel like. You're always popping up.
No, I would say, the friends I have, I rock with. But I don't have a large group of friends. And I'm a learned extrovert. No, I was talking to a friend about this last night who is also a learned extrovert. And they were saying they do trainings, and we were kind of bonding.
Learning to be an extrovert.
No, not
Oh,
as
oh.
a job, they do trainings.
Oh.
And that was like one of the things that we were talking about and connecting with was like both of us have this feeling of like we will like go in and we'll facilitate a training and we'll do it and it'll be like an hour, 2 hours, kind of whatever. And literally afterwards, the only thing you want to do is go into a room, turn off all the lights, and just sit there in silence
Yes.
and not, or take a nap, just not be around anyone at all.
I mean, that's real. Because I enjoy public speaking. that was a reach. I enjoy
Why do we not?
doing presentations and things.
Yes.
Like, I enjoy that. And you know why? No one talks to me
Yeah.
during that time. I can just do the thing, and then I'll answer your questions, and then I can go home and still no one has talked to me pretty much. So that's okay, but it's just, it's like, I wonder what faculty feel like.
There's a weird thing, even in what you said though, like, cause you pulled back and it was like, public speaking, ooh, no. It's like public speaking,
Like-
networking, it's like, it's not the actual act, it's what we called it that
Fair.
I think pushes people away.
That's fair.
So if someone has to do a presentation, or they have to
I
do
guess that's
one of, like, they'll do it, but if you go, I want you to speak publicly. Right, if you go, hey, I want you to come meet this person, it's like, all right, cool. If I go, I want you to network.
That's true.
Like, so it's not even the
Yeah.
act, it's not the thing, it's the connotation that we have behind whatever word that it is, and then those feelings that like come up, but it's not the actual act. Like, once you're in it, like, you're in it, like, you just do it.
I think that's real true.
okay giving presentations.
Yeah.
Even that word scares me.
I mean, that's real though, because I think about like the career center here. They stopped calling the career fair the career fair.
Yeah,
Now it's Next Fest.
yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that has made a difference in how students perceive that, how comfortable they feel, you know, going into the space. Because I've been to Next Fest and students are like, yes, where do you work? Give me a business card, you know, and there's right, there's like so much more confidence around that. And I didn't even think about it until you said that, like, just the language that we use contributes to how, you know,
I think
ready to
also,
go or not.
like, works on the other side too, like the employers, like, also thinking about it in a different way. Because I feel like they're less like, oh, I don't know, I just feel like they're more willing to give you a shot.
Yeah.
Or at least it feels like that.
I don't know, the next best thing is like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do next after college,
After
as
college.
opposed to like a career.
Right.
From an employer standpoint, this isn't gonna be a career. This is just gonna
Right.
be the next thing that you do, but it may be your career for 2 to 5 years,
Right.
and then you're gonna go do something else. Like, and that's just what the data says. The data says that you're gonna change
Right.
jobs over time. So if nothing else, I think it's a move to be more like contemporary or in alignment with like today's time. But even I would be curious to see the difference like in attendance between when they called it a career fair and changed it to Next Fest. Like, I think even that would be interesting.
I'm sure they have that difference.
But,
So I'd like to see.
we'll talk about this.
Yes. I said,
Have you been to Next Fest? Do you
we
know
went to
how was it?
It was good. I think I would have enjoyed it. I enjoyed it better than if it was really called a career fair.
Even if it is the same thing. Gotcha.
I'm gonna be honest, I like the employers too, like when I was there. They seem so much less like stiff than I would expect.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by like on the employer side, it feels like they've changed. Yeah, I don't know. I went, but I didn't go whenever it was called a career fair.
Is it because it was called career fair?
No, I wouldn't have gone. I don't know. The only reason I went was because Megan was
Made
like,
you-
you should
You
go.
should go, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but think about it, like, if I am, you know,
Which I mean is your job, so.
well, true.
Yes.
But if I'm, you know, if I'm a second or third year college student, I want to go to career fair. Like, even thinking about myself, I never went to a career fair.
And
I had
like,
some internships.
That's the
though.
thing too, I'm more concerned now as a junior, I was more concerned in like what I'm gonna be doing
Yeah.
at like a freshman and sophomore, like, oh, that's a way waiting.
that's like one of the things I think, like when you work, I won't even say when you work in higher ed, I think once you are like older, you can kind of look back and you want to be like, idiot, go. Like you want to be able to say that because it's like, I think now, especially me, like working in higher ed, and I see like these seniors, and they waited, they didn't do anything, and then, oh, what's next? What's after graduation? And I've said this before, it's like this look of horror comes over their face, and then they got to get it together, and then they're trying to explain to you. It's never like, I'm gonna go to grad school. oh, I got a job, so it's never like this,
No.
I'm gonna do this. It's well, you know, I'm a, you know, probably go home for a little while and do, it's like a story that they're trying to like talk themselves into to make themselves feel more comfortable. And I don't know, like being on the other end, you wanna go, you can't say it now, but it's like, this is why you should have went to Next Fest, or why you should have done some of this stuff your sophomore year. Because if you did some of this stuff maybe your sophomore year or your junior year, like you could play around with some stuff and figure out what you don't want to do, or at least, you know, you could put yourself in a much better position as opposed to you wait until your senior year. You're stressed out because you're trying to graduate. You're still probably working and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Oh yeah, and then you should try to figure out what's next, you know,
Right.
in life. And so then you kind of, I don't know, you funnel yourself into limited options. So it's, all right, well, I'm gonna go home. Or like, well, I got this apartment here. Let me just stay in my apartment for the rest of my days and continue working the hourly job that I have. Maybe I'll apply to grad school, but not really because I want to go to grad school, but just because I want to delay having to do
Yeah.
something else. Or I'll do AmeriCorps, and there's nothing wrong with AmeriCorps. I did AmeriCorps, but it's like, are you doing AmeriCorps because you actually want to do it and gain experience, or again, are you just trying to delay having to go into adulthood? So it's like if you start some of that stuff just earlier, even though you have so much more time, at least you narrow it down a little bit.
I mean, I was thinking about that too, with orientation, because I think like the first day that I did the resource fair, I didn't really have a pitch,
Yeah.
at least for continued engagement in OMA stuff, you know? And then the second time I did it, I was like, oh wait, this is easy.
Mm-hmm.
From the day, and this is what I tell students, from the day you get here to the day you leave, here are the things that we have for you. Not just because we want you to do them, but because these are opportunities for you to prepare to leave this place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is the first time that, since I've been here, that I've done an orientation and students have been like, oh yeah, so tell me more about your employment opportunities. Can I get an internship with you? What does it mean to be a part of Sankofa or Legacy or whatever? You know, there's this energy around that I think, I don't know that, like I said, I don't think I've seen that without laying it out that way. Like, yeah, we don't want you to do this just because we want you to do it. We want you to do it because you're gaining experiences and skills and confidence around doing this stuff when you leave here and have a
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of, like, one, I do think that you have, whatever you're gonna say about what the generation is coming in, but I do think there is a receptiveness to, like, that message. But I also think that's part of, when you think about, like, super fair, super development, or whatever the type of work it is, like, that is, like, that's what, part of why it exists, is
Right.
like, you were doing these things in the classroom, and those things are great, that's part of, like, what college is for, but I'm a social major, or I was a social major. Like, the things that I learned, I didn't use my research in my first job. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always that stuff that you were learning in the classroom that is gonna help you land the job. It's how you were able to use that and then the other things that are going on to build on those experiences. And that is what it's going to do. Not just get you a job, make sure you don't suck when you're there. You know?
Right.
Like, that's part of what, like, student affairs stuff does, is it allows you this space. I don't wanna say to practice employment,
say
but
Yeah, you can
that
say
feels
that.
that.
well,
You know.
and it's just true more now than ever, because when we look at the students that we get, most of our students, like, and this ain't me just like saying this, most of our students that we're getting have not worked. Like in
Right.
high school,
Most-
You're not
yeah.
having
They
a
didn't-
job, yeah.
they didn't have jobs in high school, so a lot of times this is the first work experience that they get. And so
Right.
unless we're doing a lot of those things, oh yeah, you should probably show up on time.
And not to like devalue any of like the employment opportunities here, because
Yeah.
they're just as hard, but it definitely is some, like having, working with like OMA was like a nice little stepping stone for me, because I like fit that bill, like I didn't have a job before I like came to college, like OMA was like the first thing I got that my sophomore year,
Yeah.
so.
You've been here for so long.
No, I mean, I feel like that's part of what, like, student affairs type work should be doing. It's like, oh, you do this stuff in class, well, let's help you take that and turn, like, see what that looks like in an actual job setting, while also building up these other, hopefully, like, competencies, so that you don't then go out into a workforce and people like, this person is trash. Like,
Right, why did
who
you?
was your supervisor?
Who wrote the reference?
Well, but I mean, that's also like why we take it. I think like we try to take it seriously because like I don't want to be like maybe it's my own like self. I don't want to be embarrassed by like
Now they looking at where you worked before.
yeah.
Now they like, oh, what they got going on in OMA?
I remember I was at this conference and this guy was talking about this program that he ran and he connected all the students with internships. And he said he's only had to let go of like I think it was like one person in the entire history of it. And he said it was because basically the kid wasn't doing what he needed to do. They sat down with the kid, they tried to like work with him, and he just still kind of kept doing the same thing. And so he said pretty much the reason why he ended up getting rid of him was like it was a point of like personal pride and responsibility, you know, that he was sending these government agencies, these like law firms, these like clerks. He was sending these companies and businesses like good people. And what he didn't want to do was send somebody who like just wasn't good at what they were doing and like just was a bad employee, because that doesn't just make that employee look bad, it makes him look bad, it makes the program look bad. And I'm just like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, so you think about it from the perspective of if I'm on that job and I don't do very well, and I'm a representative of UNC Asheville, of OMA, the next time a person comes through with UNC Asheville and OMA on their resume, like, that person may not get to that next step because of people they put out are, they're not that good. But I don't think people like think about that when they're, it's just like, nah, I just want a job.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I mean, I think about like myself in undergrad, and I didn't work until I got to graduate school. Not for real, that's not true. Mostly, I didn't work for real until I got to graduate school. But, okay, so I'm in class. I know how to do the work, you know what I'm saying, the academic work. I understand the value of academic rigor, and I feel confident in that, right? And then, you know, I'm leading these student organizations, so in that space, I feel confident, you know? And then, I'm like, okay, I got these internships, so I have that hands-on work experience. What I didn't have, though, which I didn't realize until I was in graduate school, and I was actually at the placement exchange applying for these jobs, you know, or this job and others. I realized I had never done a formal interview with anyone that I didn't already know. Or that mostly, but also that wasn't tied to like an academic department or something like that, you know? So there was a familiarity there. And so when I went to the placement exchange, I already had a job offer, but they do a boot camp. So they do like a day-long boot camp, so you can prepare for all your interviews, because that's literally all you do at TP is you just do job interviews.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I was like, man, I don't need to do this boot camp, you know, whatever. But I'd already paid for it, so I was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And when I tell you, I do not know that I would have gotten anybody's job if I didn't do the boot camp, because I didn't realize that there was a structure to an interview response. I didn't realize that there were certain things that employers are looking for when they're interviewing me, because I had always had those personal relationships where people knew my reputation as a student or as a leader or whatever. There was a lot more, you know, sort of weight to what they knew about me. But
One of the most helpful things I got is actually after I got my first job. So like my first job out of college, which, you know, how I got that, I don't know. But they told us pretty much like this is what will help you get into the interview. It was called like STAR model.
yes.
The STAR model of interview: situation, task, action, result. So for the most part, any question that you're asked, what was the situation? What was the task that you were being asked to do? What action did you take? What was the result? And so that, in many ways, is like the way the brain of interviewers work is if they ask you this question and they're kind of looking like whether it's consciously or unconsciously, that's what they want you to answer. And so part of even a lot of the stuff that we do, which is more like this kind of subconscious stuff that we're trying to do, that we don't necessarily outwardly, is how do we create a bunch of stars? Like meaning, how do we create a bunch of like scenarios where when someone asks you a question, you can go, oh, situation task action. So like you can do those types of things. So when they ask you like, well, give us an example of a difficult situation,
Right.
you can immediately go, oh, situation task action result. Or give us a time where you know you had to plan a project from start to finish. We're basically giving you these types of experiences so that then you're able to, in an interview, go situation, task, action,
Right.
result. But then also when you see that like in real life, like on the job, you can kind of pull from that stuff.
And that's the thing, like, I think our students recognize, like, the language, experiential learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that that term is lost on you all, but I also think that sometimes it's difficult to connect to what that actually is for them or for you all. But I think that's the point of student employment specifically. You are, like you said, like, you are providing experiences that easily fall into the STAR method. As someone who employs people, like, that is what every scenario that you put your student in should be. So hopefully when you leave here, you can be like, STAR method.
And it's also what we do.
Yeah, I mean, even in the interviews that I've had to do, like over the summer and stuff, like, I definitely, you can prepare, or you can think you're as prepared as you want to be for like an interview, but like, you do not know until you're like in it.
Yeah.
Like, you are sitting in front of that stranger who's like, yeah, and then you think that you're like, oh yeah, I know what's STAR method, I know like situation, task, actions, whatever. But, and like for me, I thought I was pretty good at interviewing, and I was like, oh, pretty good. Like, obviously no one wants to work with like a shitty, bad
Yes.
person.
No.
And so I was like, yeah, just make sure you don't do anything like drastically bad and you'll be fine. Which, I mean, I think there's some truth to that, but there's also like the whole other part where you do have to like prepare for that. And like after a while, I would go to the interviews and be like, oh, I did fine. But then I would realize, like, I would go to the next interview, and then I'm like, I could tell like I did better at that interview than I did in the last. And I'm like, oh, and then there was one. So I work at Starbucks right now, and for that interview, I remember like she asked me a question about like when like was a time that I had to like do with this team, like where I had to like work with a team, and I like told her about it. I don't have any lack of that. And at the very end, she kind of like prompted me a little bit more, and it was like, oh, and what was the result of that? And like immediately, I'm like, I should have known that. Like, yeah. I was like, I completely like blanked on, or not blanked. I immediately knew the result of that.
Yeah.
I just like forgot to mention it because you're just so caught up in the situation of like what your response is gonna be, but you don't actually like think about it further. And I'm just like, wow. And then like I think about my past interviews and I'm like, did I
Like answer a question completely, and you look at other folks and it's like, so is anyone gonna ask, like, is anyone gonna prompt this person? And so you prompt to get them to answer the question, but people don't because they're just like, like, you know, you can tell they mentally just checked out.
I think about that, like, in thinking about, you know, what I mentioned earlier about our students not feeling socially confident.
Yeah.
And then I think about, you know, mock interviews, which is something that the Career Center offers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they will not take advantage of that. And so I think the thing that I'm thinking about that has me feeling like stumped is like, how do you move around that when you have a vast number of students that don't really, like, they are not even at a place to even step into that.
Well, and I don't know, it's like, it's so counterintuitive because it's like, all right, you're not good at this thing. and it's not just me saying you're not good at it.
You
You're
said
telling
it.
me you're not good at it. So if you do this thing in this completely safe, sanitized environment where nothing is on the line, we're gonna tell you what you do to get better at it.
Right.
And you're like, but like, guess what? You're gonna have to work like to live.
Right.
So then you're gonna have to end up doing it later on, like at some point, and you're gonna be bad. Or you can just do it now, and at least not be as bad. You may not be good, but you won't be as bad.
Right.
But to your point, it's just like
And I
No. I tell you what it is. It's not that they're gonna put it off. It's that they're gonna rehearse it in front of the peer themselves, by themselves.
which is
The peer
terrible.
Me.
Yes.
the not career professional.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Yeah. Guess what? You give yourself a lot of grace when you're presenting in front of yourself in the mirror.
I wrote that down a lot. Go and do that down.
What?
This seems like a reach.
Yeah.
Like you say you think these things.
Yes.
So
I know for a fact you're not where you think you are.
when you ask someone a question like, "Do you consider yourself to be a leader?" How many people realistically are like,
what I said.
"Nah,
Yeah,
Nah.
I really know
not so much."
This is a lie.
No, I will show you where
I can show you my notes, but like it makes me wonder though, like really, like really, and if you spend most of your time around people who are just like you, how
Exactly.
open-minded do you, like how open-minded are you really?
Because when we flip a few pages and we ask you if you think dissent is important, the numbers were a little lower.
Yeah.
So,
What was super interesting about this was like looking at data that came in, and then also, FIRE, they're like the free speech folks. They basically get a bunch of college campuses all over the country. I think they're international,
yeah.
but they look at like issues of like free speech, and they put out a report, and it's super fast. They talked about this this disconnect between we're so much about free speech, but you say things that are harmful and hurtful, that should be restricted. It's like, wait, how do you hold both of these things?
Like Oprah said, what is the truth?
Yeah, like I'm tempted to believe that you're giving yourself a little bit of what was interesting, even when we did the what was it? Embark orientation. No, it wasn't. It was a transfer orientation. And some of the things that came up, we did a free speech exercise, and we gave these scenarios.
Were y'all over there?
We did it, yeah.
Yeah, it was hard.
And it was just not like in a bad way, but it was just interesting to see how people felt about like free speech and like social justice. And it very much like you had people who were like, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it kind of this, well no, like if you're with a group that, has a history of doing terrible things, then maybe we should look at like your free speech and it's like, oh.
Like you were so close.
The point is, it doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter.
Right.
Like they can still say. The point is, what do you do?
It's like, I feel like a lot of the times it's like reconstructing what a word means, like for the, like they want free speech to mean a different thing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it just doesn't.
Well, no, free speech, social justice, racism, sexism,
Yeah.
like all of these.
things.
But it's part of like why we do this stuff, where it's like, all right, when we are talking about this, this is what we mean, as opposed to what we talked before, like the whole connotation thing. Like, there's a different feeling that people have to words. And so if we're talking about like, oh, we're talking about free speech, you have a different life experience, which means you're defining it in a different way than what it actually means. And so, yeah, our conversation is always going to be off if we don't at least understand, well, like, no, that's the dictionary. This is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what, or not even it's the dictionary. People study this. And the
Right.
people who spend their entire life and a lot of money to get degrees to study it, they say it's this.
Right.
So I know that you and your feelings, you feel like it's this other thing, but the people who get paid to do this, they say it's this. And if you dedicated 4 years of your life to a bachelor's degree, maybe 2 years to a master's, and then another 5 to a PhD, and the many thousands of dollars that come with it, and the research, publishing, I'm much more inclined to believe that person's idea, with all the research that they've done, their definition, than I am what my dad said,
Right.
or my friend said.
You know what my favorite thing is? It's like, why would I believe that person who has so much privilege? Why would I believe them? And I'm like, do you know who made like intersectionality?
Books.
Do you know who said it? Like, do you know who coined that term?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not who you think it is.
And like, if you're resistant to that, what is that based on? Like, is it based on your feeling, or is there something like how many books have you read? How much research? And I'm not even talking about like you're going through. Like, how many individuals of diverse backgrounds have you sat down and had a conversation with to come to the conclusion that you come to? Or is it your soul and circle?
You're so
There's like a question on there that's like, do you have you socialized with like a cultural or ethnic group or something like
Yeah.
that? Yeah. That's where I'm a liar.
No, I wrote down, I remember this because I was like, sure they have. The one person that they
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what, how do you, this is where you have to pull the dictionary out.
Like,
You're
how
like,
do you
socialize.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your version of socialize?
Yeah. Or like,
Because I thought you didn't like to socialize.
and there's things like meaningful interactions. Like, how do you define
Yeah.
meaningful? And then that's like how you know like there's a gaze of dominant culture that is created through, because I interact with a different ethnicity and culture every day.
Every day.
Multiple times a day. Like most of my day. Like until I get to my house when the door's closed, that's what I'm doing. Right? So but I don't like you can tell like in dissecting